So this is my '94 Fleetwood. Bought for $2,300 recently, and I think it's a pretty interesting car. It's kind of a little dirty, and something that always happens is all this chrome. See how it starts peeling up and wrinkling, which is basically happens in every car I've seen like this. And as you can see, I have a white wall here, white letters here. The deal is 235 70 15. That's the tire size on here, right down here. See, and the problem is this is a really weird tire size. I know 235 75 15 is pretty common. That was on like our '97 Mountaineer, and it's on a lot of trucks and all that. There's plenty of tires with white walls in that size, but when it's a 70, not so much. It's like just not that common anymore, so I couldn't really find any white walls for a reasonable price. So I had to stick with a white letter tire for now. I'm trying to get some more. I just bought 3 more of these. I just needed this one because the tire was worn pretty bad. I think it'll really change the look of the car. You see how it looks with the 2 white walls. And this one is actually the original spare. Nice and meaty. It's not too scratched up. Let's see. There's a date on here. As you can see on the tire here, 10-3. That's a 3-digit date code. That means it's the 10th week of '93. This thing was manufactured. Had to replace both the front tires, and I'm just using this for now. Yeah, even though it is 24 years old, it's been inside the car all the time, and it's not even driver hotted or anything. Kind of ashamed to use the original tire like that, but that's what had to happen. And on the back here, I'm trying to replace these tires too, because as you can see there, 19th week of 2011. Yeah, they're 7 years old. Time to replace those. I already bought the other white wall tires, white letter, General Ultimax RT43, like the one on the front. I'm gonna add an after picture once I get those installed to see how much the car look changed with the white letters instead of the white walls. As you can see, chrome here is pretty bad too. And you can see this rubber down here. It's all faded and yellowed. I have to like find some way to get more gray stripping. The top is in pretty good shape. It's kind of torn right there. That's about the worst of it. So a little tear right there. And this stuff, it's getting peeled off a little bit. That's common too. Pretty much guaranteed to happen. And for some reason, the trunk won't release. You gotta use the key. It clicks, it makes noise, doesn't do anything. It doesn't open though. Also faded. This mirror, the paint's fading off of it. And in like '95, I think they moved the mirror to this little panel there, so it's not stuck on the side of the door. I don't know. It kind of looks better this way. And here's an interesting fact. Notice how this little trim piece is missing here on this corner. I've seen 3 other Fleetwoods on Craigslist. That's loose too. 3 other Fleetwoods had this exact same damage, and I know exactly why that happened. Some little old lady is sitting there in the driver's seat, can't see over here, and bumps into the little handicap pole sticking out of the ground, and then the trim piece falls off. I'm almost certain that's exactly what happened. Because I've seen it on a bunch of other Fleetwoods like this. Yeah, a little more spot there. The interesting thing about this one is, you know, even though we're in Illinois, it's all this paint is fading and peeling. You can see in the little grill there, it's faded. The clear coat's peeling off right there. Yeah, that's because this car spent a lot of time in Arizona, which is pretty good. That's why this car is so rust-free. Almost no rust. It's basically a rare find with this many miles and this little rust. The annoying thing is, like, it was the winter time. I was opening the hood to try to jump start somebody's car, and because there's snow on the hood, it, like, the gas struts couldn't hold up the hood anymore, so it slammed down, and then this little piece broke off. I tried to glue it down right back there, but it kind of fell down. Now it's stuck to the bottom there. And then there's a little pinhole in this headlight here from a rock smashing into it. Just a little tiny hole right there, barely even noticeable. Yeah, other than that, it's pretty straight. Like, you know, dings and dents here and there. Like, right down there somewhere. I can't really see it. And then there's like this one random spot in here. But look at that. That's the worst of the rust. Under this side, you know, the frame's not perfect. It's a little brown. But, you know, better than most other Fleetwoods like this. The worst rust spot on the entire car is right at the bottom of the door here. It looks like that's where, like, water collects in between each door. Which kind of sits here and, like, sits right behind the trim piece there and rots it away. This is a pretty common problem with these cars. There's like a little metal piece right in there. Pretty bad design. After a bunch of getting in and out, it'll just wear right through it like it did here. The good thing about these seats is they actually have some side bolstering here. You can see it's pretty thick, but, you know, it's not right here. It's flattened out. So you kind of like slide off this side of the seat if you lean to the left, so that's why I tend to lean right on the armrest. As you can see on this side, there's still a lot of side bolstering on this side. It's not all flattened out. It's somewhat better. You can see how thick it is right here. You know, theoretically, even though it is a 6-seater car, look at how much of a drop down there is between these two seats. If you have anybody sitting in the middle for any amount of time, they're going to destroy the side bolstering on these seats, and there's not even a seatbelt in the middle, you know. That's kind of a strange design feature. And it's kind of like grayed out. And I don't know if you've seen these cup holders in this car, but that's not exactly flat. You can see, compared to the door card, you're not going to keep any jerk in there for any amount of time. This glove box gets stuck pretty bad. It's unlocked right now. One of these days, the handle is just going to fall right off. It has all these seat adjustments, but of course, you know, they don't work after 24 years of being used. That's great. Heat seats stopped working a long time ago. Handle's in pretty good shape. Another thing, because I spent so much time in Arizona, is this dashboard. all shattered. Well, I say shattered, but because the dashboard is nice and padded, it more cracked than shattered. As you see over here on my sister's truck, a 96 Ram, the dashboard literally shattered. It rattles around and stuff, but because the dashboard of my car is padded, it's tolerable. You don't even notice that it's cracked, other than just looking at it. This one rattles because it actually physically shattered into a million pieces. And back here you got little mirrors. I'm not sure if there's supposed to be carpeting on it originally, but there isn't now. And then this little door handle is shattered in two. You gotta find somebody to glue that back together. People tend to mistake this car with the Cadillac DeVille of the same era, but once you really at a glance they are pretty much similar, but once you get to know the differences, they come easier to spot. Main difference on the bumper, these little 5-mile-an-hour bumpers, those plastic DeVille bumpers don't have that. There's like a single piece of plastic. They look more like a regular car bumper, you know. Another thing is the chrome along the side. The entire bottom of the car, that's only on the Fleetwoods. The DeVilles don't have that chrome trimming around the bottom. And one of the easier differences to spot is also back here with these bumpers, but the split tailgate, or the split trunk, I mean. The DeVilles have the reverse lights right next to the license plate, and it's one trunk piece. This one has the gas cap down here in the back, which is a really old school design. So they had to keep the trunk split. That's a pretty easy to tell them apart. And, you know, the wheels are different. If you really know what to look for, you can see how the wheels will be different on the DeVille compared to this. But the main difference between the DeVille of this era and the Fleetwood, of course, is under the hood. This one has the good old-fashioned LT1 Corvette type engine, 350. While the DeVilles have either a 4.9, 4.6 in the early years, or the North Star in the later years. This one's a really old school rear-wheel drive, longitudinal V8, while the DeVilles are transverse, side-to-side, front-wheel drive V8s. That's the really big difference. And you can see here how the bumper's faded in the sun. $230,000 miles with this little rust in Illinois is pretty rare. These cars, if you have anywhere less than like 170,000 miles, expect to pay like close to $5,000 for one of these. They're just that valuable. Just look how simple this gauge cluster, if you call it that, is. That's all you get. No temperature, no tachometer, nothing. Got all these warning lights on the side. Better hope this car tells you if it's overheating or something, because you're not going to know otherwise. They really don't want the elderly drivers that's worrying about their car. Which is interesting because, like, the DeVille of this era had a computer information system, like little buttons in it, told you your fuel economy and things like that. Had steering wheel controls for the radio and climate control. Not in this car. It's really interesting how they kind of carried this design over from, because this body, the frame underneath it, has been around in concept for like since the 30s or 40s.